All right, you guys, you know what time it is. We're back on another Tuesday, Men of Impact with you already know who I am, Dr. Brad, your purpose clarity coach, helping men who are unfulfilled in their current career be able to find clarity in their calling so they can turn their purpose into a profitable business. And if you're here for the first time, again, this is the Men of Impact show. We do this every single Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And this is the show where high achieving men come to gain clarity on their calling, turn their purpose into profits, and optimize their success and fulfillment. And so this show is really what I like to describe as a perfect combination of both faith-based and entrepreneurship principles designed to be able to help high achieving men get the clarity and strategies that they need to go from stuck in their current career to successfully pursuing their calling, creating both income and impact, and living that fulfilled life that we all deserve. And so, if this is your first time, we welcome you. If you've been here before, welcome back. Make sure you do three things. Just stop what you're doing right now and do these three things. Like, share, and subscribe. You already know what to do. Like, share this information, and subscribe. I promise you, as you stay on with this, can I say telecast? Is this a telecast? We'll just call it a live stream. That you will be blessed by this information. You will be a better man as you watch this. And I can promise you that if you subscribe every single time you see me on this show or doing any type of information such as a YouTube video, whatever case may be, you will be blessed and be a better man as a result of it. As always, this is not just a one-way street. We want to engage with you, so make sure that you tell us what's up as you come in. If you have questions and comments, make sure you put them in the chat as I bring on another phenomenal guest. You know what I do, man. I bring you guys the best on this show every single Tuesday. So we want to make sure that this is interactive and this is not just me and the guest, although our conversation will be great and he's going to bring you a lot of phenomenal information today. And so, as always, I want to start off the show with something that's just been on my mind and my heart over maybe the last few days or last week. And it was something as I was driving home today from work. And it's a question that I want each and every last person who's watching this to ask themselves, because I feel like it's a question that at some point is going to arise in your life or career. And the question is this: is what I'm currently doing in my career, is this what I have been called to do for my life? I'm going to ask that question again. Is what I'm currently doing for my career what I've been called to do for my life, what I've been called to do to contribute to the world, what I've been called to do to impact the lives of others? See, the thing is, I know a lot of successful people who do what they do, but I started figuring out it's not about just success, but it's about fulfillment. And that's what seems like this far-reaching thing that we call fulfillment is directly tied to our level of service and serving other people, helping other people with our gifts and talents, with really turning our experience into expertise and being that person to be able to help the life, to be able to help the lives of other people. Are you currently doing that? Is that what you're doing for your career? Listen, if the answer is yes, man, God bless you. That's phenomenal. But you are a rare breed, okay? But for those of you who are saying, you know what, Dr. Brad, that's not the case. No, my career is not my calling. Let me make something clear, and I've said this before. Your career is how you currently, recognize I said currently, get paid. Your calling is why you were made. But the beautiful thing about this is that you can marry the two. You can marry the calling with creating capital, right? And if you haven't noticed already, I got this pastoral thing. Everything is alliterative, right? I'm just bringing all the C's and the P's together with you. But here's the deal. If you are looking to gain clarity on what that calling is, on what that thing that you were designed to do to serve people at such a high level, then I want you to check out something that is free for you to be able to help you get clarity on that. And it is a guide. It's called the Men's Purpose Clarity Guide. And so go to this website, drbradmd.com/pivot plan. And there you will find the Men's Purpose Clarity Playbook. And it's a video with a company PDF to kind of walk you through how to start getting some clarity on that calling so that you can start to pursue what you were designed to be phenomenal at and serve people at a high level with. All right, you guys? So you know what time it is. It's time to bring on our guest. This is someone who I admire significantly. This is, anytime I've seen someone build something from scratch, something that is their passion, something that is part of their purpose, and do it at a high level, do it with integrity, I have a tremendous amount of respect. And I've been watching this person from afar, and then I had the opportunity to meet him, I guess you could say what we now call in person virtually, because we can't meet as much anymore. But we met recently virtually, and everything that I saw in terms of the integrity, the character, in terms of the business that he's building, I saw the exact same thing and then more as he and I got a chance to meet. Just a phenomenal individual. His name is Mr. Brian Olds, and he is the CEO and founder of Black Speakers Network. And I love what he's been, kind of his nickname. His nickname is the curator of collaboration. And so you talk about networking, this person knows how to network. And he has used speaking as, which is his passion, to be able to help him network and help other people be able to take what is their expertise, or maybe even get some clarity on what they want to speak about and turn that into a business, be able to turn that into a way to be able to monetize what they do. And I'm going to let him tell you guys specifically what he does. But listen, like I said, he's the founder and CEO of Black Speakers Network. He is a phenomenal speaker, best-selling author, and more importantly, the dude is just an awesome guy. And so I'm going to bring him on, Mr. Brian Olds. What's going on, my friend? Welcome to Men of Impact.
Dr. Brad, I am super excited to be here. Listen, you are invited to introduce me at any time. We can go on the road. We can get it done. That is world class. I must say. I'm well. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm excited to have you on. One of the reasons is because I enjoy speaking. Speaking is a gift of mine. So I'm actually looking to learn some stuff tonight, not just bless some other folks, but I'm looking to be blessed because I know what you do and how awesome you are. We've already got Carla, who knows who you are, who's saying, "Hey, Brian." She's even got the same last name. Y'all probably related somehow.
Check the resume. Yes,
that's right. So she's already shouting out to us, and so I told folks a little bit about who you are and what you do, but just in your own words, man, kind of tell us who you are and tell us about Black Speakers Network.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a kid from Baltimore and still here right outside of the city, and super excited to be here and share. I think the thing that I want people to know right away, because here we're talking about speaking, and right now, Dr. Brad, we both look good. We both sound good. We got the sports jackets, which I need to borrow that one actually at some point.
Okay, gotcha.
Here's the deal. I was an introvert, and still am, card carrying introvert. We're trying to get the actual cards printed up so that we could give them to people, because most people are. And so I was a kid from Baltimore, couldn't lead two people in silent prayer. And so I was probably voted. You remember in high school how they used to do the superlatives and the awards? I would have been least likely to run a speaker development and training organization with 10,000 plus people. It'd be a very long certificate, but I'm sure that's what I should have got. So
right.
Absolutely, man. I'm proud to be the president and founder here at Black Speakers Network. As you mentioned, our mission is to equip, connect, and inspire the next generation of Black professional speakers. I started the organization in 2016, born out of a need. And I'll tell you the story in a moment. But, just born out of a need to be able to create community and be able to create support, resources, and really opportunities for current and aspiring professional speakers. And so we've been doing that, consistently growing. And I think the goal now is to just really be able to help people, whether you self-identify, you raise your hand like, yep, I'm a speaker. I know I am. Give me the mic. I will rock the house. I know we got people in that camp. We have some other people that are like, I don't really know about speaking, but you have a business, you have an idea, you have information in your head that could move people to action. And speaking becomes then a avenue, a marketing channel to be able to effectively reach who you need to reach to. But at the end of the day, Dr. Brad, as you mentioned, we have the book Speak Up. The reason we call it Speak Up is because it's our tagline. Our tagline is Speak Up with an exclamation point. Your audience awaits. And that's rooted in a fundamental belief that we all have an audience that we're called to serve. Even as a medical doctor, you have an audience that you're called to serve. If you're an architect, you have an audience that you're called to serve. So now we're just talking about you as a speaker, but everyone is looking to serve an audience, and we just want to be able to accelerate their ability to get there quicker.
Man, I love that. So because you know what I do is I help provide clarity. And we were talking about this the first time we met, is that, you know, you can be gifted and talented as a speaker. And I'm sure you've come across a ton of talented folks, like you said, just give me the mic and I'll go off. But sometimes they don't have the clarity on who am I called to speak. And so I think one of the reasons why you and we just hit it right off the bat is because between the clarity and them speaking, it just makes sense. Because if you don't understand who you're called to serve, your ability to evangelize what it is your business, your ability to let people know, like, this is what I do. I mean, sure, you can be enthusiastic and that you can have energy, but I don't know if you'll truly be able to transform lives if you don't know what that calling is, who they are, what their problem is, and how they're going to transform their lives.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And it's a journey. It's truly a journey. So if you're in that place where maybe, and I'm glad that you're following Dr. Brad, because obviously this is the master of getting clarity, but certainly we'll talk about, you know, kind of how that fits in with our model of growing a speaker business, but it absolutely has to start from that place. And it doesn't have anything to do with talent. A lot of people, you know, when we start talking about speaking, Dr. Brad, the first thing people think of, well, when we talk about professional speaking, one of the first things people think about is public speaking. And a large percentage of the population are really afraid to step in front of a live audience to say anything. You know, that's where I started. And there are levels to that. So, you know, even if you're comfortable speaking in front of an audience, then you still have to be comfortable doing what we're doing, talking in front of a camera, or talking in front of a camera live, and then talking in front of a camera on television. And so there are progressively different levels that you move through, but it starts with clarity on who is in your target market, who are you trying to reach, what do they need from you, and how are you going to differentiate yourself from everything that's already out there?
Man, that's huge. And so what I want everybody to know, because we're going to be diving more into this as we go throughout the show, is that if you're looking to start something, if you have already started something, if you're already an entrepreneur, if you are already a speaker, basically, if you're looking to monetize something or further monetize it, I don't care if you speak about it or not, this show will be for you. Because like you said, you know, and what we were talking about before we came on the show, this is going to be a way that people can take whatever they're doing or about to start and start to learn how to use their voice to be able to monetize their mission. Now, before we get into that, I always want to inspire people by folks' stories, because you know, you're very accomplished, but I want people to know it's possible to go from employee to entrepreneur, and that's exactly what you did. So take us through your story of what you did before you started Black Speakers Network, and then at one point you were doing both, and then the next step was like, all right, man, it's time to go ahead and make the jump. So what were you doing before, and you know, kind of how did this happen?
Yeah, well, what I want everyone to know is that I was supposed to be at NASA. Like my goal, I was a kid sitting on the living room floor, circa 1990, watching, remember the NASA space shuttle launches now, it's the SpaceX launches. I was the kid glued to the television every time one of those things got shot in the air. And so I wanted to be an aerospace engineer, Dr. Brad. That was my goal. I would sit in my room, take things apart. Didn't always put them back together, but I would take things apart and just try to figure it out. And so we all know that as an engineer, and I'm very proud to have been accepted to the engineering program at Morgan State University, is credited as producing some of the best and brightest Black engineers across the country. And so I was on that path, Dr. Brad, but then I hit this little class called Calculus 2, i.e. differential equations. And I was like, you know what? Let me just go see what the School of Business is talking about. So like I left and like never came back, but I was lost. I was actually, and I know a lot of people that you work with can be in that place because there's an assumption that by the time you get to college, you should have it all figured out. You should know exactly what you want to do and just full steam ahead. And even after you leave, you should have it figured out. But I was lost, and I knew I was in business and school, and I had no idea even hardly what that meant, but I was just trying to, move forward. And then we actually formed a Toastmasters club at Morgan State University. And so Toastmasters, for the uninitiated, is an organization that helps you with your public speaking skills.
Phenomenal organization. Shout out to Toastmasters. Great organization. Worldwide organization.
Global organization, over 140 countries, over 100,000 members across the United States, across the world. And it was my ticket to more, on the other side of that fear was more confidence. And so if you had been sitting next to me in a small classroom in 2006 at Morgan State University, you would have watched as I stood up, walked to the front of the room nervously to deliver my very first speech in Toastmasters. So Dr. Brad, you seem like you're front of the class type of person. If you were sitting in that very first seat, you would have noticed a couple things changing with me physically.
Your physiology was changing.
Look, it was crazy. Sweaty palms. You would have heard my shaking voice as it trembled to get through the first couple of paragraphs. And someone made the mistake of leaving the door open in the classroom. And so everybody kind of has this nervous thing that they do. My nervous thing was pacing. I would walk back and forth. At one point I was pacing so much, I didn't even realize I almost walked like out of the room. I had a Nigerian friend, his name's Deepo Adesina. Deepo's in the back like, Brian, where are you going? Like the meeting is in here, come back. So like, this is physically that was happening. Now, what you couldn't see is what was occurring on the inside. And so typically, every time we're nervous, whether you're asking a person on a date or whether you are about to do something for the first time, everybody says you have those butterflies flying around in the stomach. We've all heard that. What's going on, Reggie?
What's up, Reg? Reg is my man. Good coming on, man.
All right, Reggie. So Reggie probably knows about the butterflies. They are flying around there going crazy. In my particular case, they weren't the Discovery Channel type of majestic monarch butterflies that you see on TV. No, these were the Hannibal Lecter style butterflies, like trying to crash into each other, trying to escape. You couldn't see it, but that was happening on the inside. So eventually, Dr. Brad, I wrap up my presentation. I immediately noticed three things. Number one really was I did a quick self-check, pulse, all that. I was still alive to my astonishment because I thought I was going to die on the spot. Didn't happen, so live to tell about it. Number two, everyone in the room was clapping. In fact, they gave me a standing ovation. Wow. Yeah, that's what I said. But later on, I realized Toastmasters, for the uninitiated, Toastmasters is a little bit like church. Like, if you bring your sandwich to the meeting, you're probably going to get a round of applause. Like, we clap everything. But
the fact that you have a pulse, you get a round of applause.
If you made it down, yeah, but it made me feel really good at the time. And then the third thing and the most important thing I realized, Dr. Brad, was that, you know what? I just completed my first presentation. And then if I could complete one, I could probably complete 2. And so a few weeks later, I did my second presentation.
Wow.
2 turned into 4, 4 turned to 8. I eventually did my first 10 projects. I started speaking outside the club. Confidence started going up. I eventually graduated from Morgan State, got a job at a staffing recruiting agency 1 week after graduating, and started, moving my way and growing my confidence from there. And so eventually I landed in corporate America, but the entire time I was there, I knew that speaking was going to be, I had no idea. I knew I had a passion for speaking, but I had no idea. We had public speaking here. I had no idea there was an industry of professional speaking. So we started seeking that out. And so I would seek out organizations and try to find, again, other people who were, doing this thing. And lo and behold, I started to see these umbrellas because in business school, we learned about marketing,
Right.
how to get attention, how to, communicate a product, service, ideas, the 4 Ps, all of that. We learned about marketing. But then when I started getting around and learning about the speaking industry, I said, aha, so there's marketing, but then there's a level under that known as digital marketing. So we're selling products and services, and we leverage the internet and other tools to be able to reach an audience beyond where we are. And then under that, there's another umbrella called information marketing. So we're taking specifically like information out of our head, remixing it, packaging it up, and serving it to our audience. And speaking then becomes a subsection of information marketing. Yeah. So this is like blowing my mind, Dr. Brown. I'm like, they didn't talk about any of this in business school. And so now I want to be a speaker. And not only that, what I realized in Toastmasters, and I went on to I started doing corporate training and got promoted into my dream job. I got a chance to hire speakers, work with other speakers. I started hosting my own events. And I realized that as much as I love speaking, I love, probably even more so, helping other speakers connect with the audience that they're called to serve, helping them find their voice, helping them get organized, helping them to clarify their marketing and all of those things. And so that was really the genesis of Black Speakers Network. And honestly, I was pretty disappointed with the lack of representation of speakers, of speakers of color in general, but specifically Dr. Brad, coming from an HBCU, we just got a little bit of swagger with everything. And so I'm like, where are we at? Like I saw Eric Thomas, okay.
Yep.
Les Brown, got it. Lisa Nichols, got it. But where's the next generation? And so that's why our theme, our mission is inspiring the next generation of Black professional speakers. And it has nothing to do with age, but it has to do with people who self-select and say, yes, I know that I have a mission, I have a message, and I can help people move to the next level. And so 2016, Black Speakers Network was born. As you mentioned, I was still kind of doing the full-time entrepreneurship dance and changing in the bathroom and doing all the stuff that we do, part-time entrepreneurs. But that was the genesis.
Man, so one piece that I want everybody to understand in your story is in essence, you have now truly pursued your calling. People are trying to figure out what that is. You figured out that you did not just want to speak. You wanted to help other people speak based on the experience that you had of just how powerful and transformational it was for you to recognize just an impact that it had on your life. You wanted that to have, or you wanted to be able to have the same impact on somebody else's life with the experience that you had. And so many people are trying to figure out, I know there's something else out there. And let me just tell you, your past experience can turn into expertise, because the reality is this: you recognize, like, dude, this was transformational for me. And you are like, gosh, if I could just help other people experience what I did, I can't be the only one who wants to speak and wants to get this message out here. But guess what? Through my past experiences, I figured out a few things along the way. I probably bumped my head against the wall when it comes to marketing. Probably bumped my head against the wall trying to figure this thing out. And so along the way, with the bangs and the bruises and the bumps, you actually start getting, some stripes and saying, you know what? This stripe says I can teach you how to not make that mistake now, because I still have a passion for you to be transformed the same way I was. And so oftentimes we're looking to heal the same scars that we had as our calling. So, all right, man, well, let's get into it because it's time to bless some folks, bruh. I wanna know, again, this is just for everybody. You have a framework of thinking when it comes to speaking, and it sounds like it's very intentional in terms of being able to take your voice and then turn that into monetizing. Let's be real, turn that into profit. And so I want to hear your framework of us, taking a speaker from where they are to their voice, their message, to getting it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I answer that, and I just want to add on to what you said because that was really powerful. And I do think that it's sometimes we think success is this like kind of linear, like 45-degree like angle when it's like all these like zigzags. And for me, it was like that because honestly, working through, I'm a little bit of an atypical millennial. I spent 11 years working for the same company, and that was my only professional job out of college. And I held numerous roles.
Bro, that's like a lifetime for millennials right now. That's like they looking for a pension. They don't even know what pension is no more. Like they like that's like, yeah, that's retirement for most millennials. Yeah.
If they haven't got promoted in like 3 months, they're looking for the next thing. So it's like, okay. But for me, I graduated into 2008 was the last recession. I graduated the year before. So the bottom had like fell out of the economy. So I was looking, but I still, it wasn't clear. And I just want to let people know before we get into the 5 M's and kind of piggybacking on what you said, that it's okay to be in that space because oftentimes there are forces in play in your life that are kind of preparing you to do this. And so for me, that intersection was the intersection of speaking. So Toastmasters, that was in college in 2006. I got actually promoted into, my dream job at the time, which was corporate training and development. So like Dr. Brad, all I wanted to do was like drop knowledge on people, like be in front of the classroom, like be able to have an audience and help people get better at their jobs. That was a dream job at the time. And then I started to realize I actually got promoted into doing diversity and inclusion work. And so that gave me a broader lens of looking at, not just corporate diversity and inclusion, but looking at the world in general and really seeing like, wow, how can we create like equitable spaces to be able to create these things? But none of this still hadn't clicked into Black Speakers Network. It took time for that to coalesce. So I just really, if people are out there now and they're like, well, wow, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, and I just don't see the connection. One, I think working with you, obviously, Dr. Brad, you'll start to get that. But it may not always be obvious, like right out the gate. But I do believe, just moving forward is really, really important. So I just wanted to throw that in.
No, for sure. And real quick, because I know people want to get to what you're about to talk about in terms of speaking is, it comes a certain time, I think, when people are like, man, like my career is not fulfilling me. You know what I mean? And you just may not be in that space yet where it's like, you know what I'm saying? And you're still learning enough about what you don't like. You learn a lot about the skills that you have gained, starting realizing like, man, I feel like I might have value outside of these walls of the workplace. And so, like you said, that takes time. And oftentimes, once you get to that place of, like, I know there's something else out there for me, a lot of what you need, and quite honestly, for me to be able to help provide clarity for someone, you now have gotten a lot of what I would need to look at your picture from outside the frame and say, hold up, man, you didn't realize that you got this from here. And you didn't realize that you got this piece from here to help now deliver the thing that you're trying to do and now who you're supposed to bless. So it does take time, man. And you make a great point. I think it takes time and it takes a different perspective to finally get clarity on, man, this is it. But sometimes you don't have enough pieces of the puzzle to put it together, right? I'm the guy that says, hey, look, you probably got a lot of pieces of the puzzle. Let me help you put them together because you're not really sure how it works. But sometimes you just don't have enough pieces yet, accrued over time. So All right, man, let's get into these M's, man, because something
Yeah,
tells me that some of these M's is got money in it. But yeah,
they do. And I know you have M's too. So it's
that's
a
right.
good oversection. So I the I so when I started BSN, I got super curious because even though I had, gotten paid speaking engagements at that point, I've been a professional trainer for 2+ years, I've hired speakers. There's a vastness to our industry that I can't take for granted. And that's why I'm always really weary of like people that are like, I know everything. Like you don't, because there's so much. And so for me, we ask a ton of questions all the time. We ask questions in our BSN Facebook community. When people join, we ask a ton of questions just to try to figure out where people are, what they're struggling with, what they've tried, and where they see themselves and where they want to go. And so over time, by the way, during that period, I actually learned that when it comes to training, it's kind of like, how they have the iceberg and it's like the top 20% you see sticking out the water.
Mhm.
In the training world, that's kind of like, showing up to a training session. You see the materials, you see the colors, you see the chalk or the whiteboard, like the workbook, like that's the 20% that people see. What the 80% that people don't see is what we call instructional design. And so that became my background. I went back to school to study instructional design so I can understand how adults learn. And as we get into these M's, it's kind of like, okay, how can I create instructional events to move people forward in knowledge and in skill? And for me, the easiest way to do that is to create a model, a framework for people to step into. And so at Black Speakers Network, we call it the 5 M's. When we looked across all the questions, people come in and ask a ton of questions, Dr. Brad. How do I get paid for speaking? How do I find more engagements? How do I go live? Like all these different things, it really boiled down to 5 areas of clarity. And that is getting clarity on your mission, your message, your marketing, how to monetize and manage your speaking business. And we call it the 5 M's: mission, message, marketing, how to monetize and manage your speaking business. And so at BSN, and actually there's a secret 6M, we can get into that maybe later, but
Okay.
there's 5 as at least a foundation, because it's foundational for speaking. But when you really peel it back, any entrepreneur, I mean, whether you're running a bakery or a real estate practice or SpaceX, like whatever you're doing, you need to have clarity in these 5 different areas to be able to effectively deliver value to the audience that you serve. And so that's the 5 M's, and we can dive into a few of them if you like.
Yeah, man. Let's just kind of talk about what each of them mean, and let's talk about what each of them mean. I can tell you one I'm most interested in. I'm the mission guy, right?
You
So
are the
I
mission.
love the mission, because to me, foundationally, if you don't know what the mission is, it's going to be hard to start taking action. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, okay. So the mission for us, I give you an exercise we take people through to start to get in on that. And I'm really excited to work with you in Black Speakers Network, because I think you could take this and really get people to a better place. But we developed a model called the speaker sweet spot. So, Brad, remember in school how you had like the Venn diagram, like the circle and the other circle that intersects? Well, if you picture like 3 circles that intersect, for us, one of the first things we want people to do is get clarity on that speaker sweet spot, which is the intersection between your passion, your expertise, and market demand. And so as we start to think about, okay, who am I as a speaker? Like, what audience am I really serving? So doing a deep dive on what is it that I'm really, really passionate about? And we're not talking about like surface level passion, because the interesting thing in the speaking business is that we're all multi-passionate. Like most people in this industry, like we write, we sing, like we like anime, we do that, we like, technology, like all these different things. But what we're talking about is a sustained, demonstrated passion, not something that you got excited about yesterday, probably something linking all the way back to your childhood. So really looking for, what are you passionate about? Because what people don't realize about the speaking industry is that it is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Oh man, say that again. Because some people, just like we had an author on here the other day, people think they're gonna write their first book and that's the home run. Like it's just, and then like, oh, I wrote my book. No, usually when you see somebody who's been like this, New York Times best-selling author, that's like their fourth or fifth, if not more book. So that's great. Sorry to cut you off, but no, that's a huge point. People got to understand that.
It is absolutely a marathon and a series of sprints at that. So one day you might be running fast, the other day, the next day you're on cruise control. And so to have staying power in this business, Carla says, whenever I speak with Brad or Ron, I have the pen and paper ready, y'all. I love her. Yeah, but it's like, staying power. We're not talking about 12 or 24 months. We're talking about the next 12 to 24 years. So just having that perspective and that mindset is one. So passion. That next is expertise. What do you know? Now, here's the thing that people get stuck in. I think a lot of times we will have strong expertise in certain areas, and they may not necessarily align with our passion, and that's okay, because I spent 4 years doing diversity and inclusion. I'm not a diversity speaker now per se, but it helped me it helped broaden my perspective on how things are right now. So we draw on that expertise, but what do you know? And then the other piece is sometimes we, especially I think in the African-American community, we diminish our experience and what we've done and what we actually know, because not in certain capacities, not always recognized and celebrated broadly. So, and we don't really look at how much what we do is valued in the marketplace. So really honing in on like, what do you know and what are you committed to learning continuously? So that's like expertise. And then the third piece of the speaker sweet spot. So we got passion, we got expertise. The third piece is market demand. So what do people actually need? Like what problem are you solving? And one of the best analogies I heard for this recently is your solution that you're providing in the mind of your audience, is it a vitamin or is it a painkiller? Is it something that, because, Dr. Brad, we take a vitamin. If we stop taking our vitamins, we could take vitamins for 10 years. If we stop taking it, we're not going to notice an immediate, nothing's going to change. A week, nothing's probably going to change.
That's why don't nobody take vitamins, bro. So we're not taking vitamins. This is the point, right?
We don't see, it's no immediate thing. But if I have a backache or a toothache and I'm taking ibuprofen, then and I stop taking it, then we're going to notice something immediately. Now, I like to kind of take that one step further because like a pain, they're called pain relievers, right? And this is your area now, but pain relievers, like they're just masking the pain. It's really not treating it. So now it's actually a third level. So you got vitamins, you got pain relievers, and then you have like pain resolvers. So like, if you're going to the chiropractor, if you're, treating what's actually solving it. So you have to decide what yours is. So based on where that solution sits in the marketplace is going to determine how you get paid.
That's right.
How you get paid. And so mission, you're absolutely right. And that's why I love that you focus on this, because everybody skips mission. Man, how do I make money? How do I fill this book? How do I get this course? But if you don't have this clear, there's no way. You don't stand a chance of crafting effective messaging. You don't stand a chance of creating marketing material that's going to attract your audience. You don't stand a chance of monetizing, at least at the level. Some people may mess up and just get to like 100K. I mean, you could do it, but it's not sustainable. So that's what we're talking about.
And you even mentioned to me when we first met, a ton of great speakers who'd actually made a lot of money, but then get stuck because one of the first questions you ask is like, well, who are you speaking to? And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, I speak to everybody. Like, no, you need to know who you're speaking to. And most of us don't know what we don't know, right? And we don't know how much we don't know. Number one, we don't know how much we don't know and how much that's hurting our bottom dollar, even if we are gifted. And so, one of the things that I like to say, so you mentioned that passion, this was described to me the best way I could, because you said people have a lot of likes. Like, I like this, I like basketball, I like Jordan shoes, I like this, I like that. But the real question about a passion is, what are you willing to suffer for? That's the question. It's like, what are you willing to actually like go after and like suffer for. Like, well, I ain't willing to suffer for them J's. Like, I ain't willing to suffer to like what these are things that you like, but there's a completely different level of what are you willing to suffer for in that three thing that you were talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I think you're right. People don't understand that they have expertise, meaning that they have had consistent results in something that may actually be outside of their current career. And they're like, well, I don't know what I could confidently speak on. And that's when I'm like, no. And then we look back and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that same thing that worked for me, that has consistently worked for me, could potentially work for someone else. And I could speak confidently on it because it's something that I do and it's changed my life. And so, and could still be a painkiller, right? That you were talking about before. I love that trifecta. I'm curious, what do you have to tell somebody who say they do have clarity, right? They're like, look, man, I know who I'm serving. I know how I'm serving them. I know the solution to their problem. I know their pain points. Like, I know this stuff, but I really haven't used speaking to kind of, how can speaking work for me, Brian? I mean, I'm a cook. I'm a chef. You know what I'm saying? I got, I kind of do some online stuff. But I'm cooking, bro. Like, how's that going to help me?
Yeah. So here's what I would say. So we're in 2020, even amongst Corona and everything else that's happening. We are in an age where we're in a moment and that I am sure will be earmarked in history as a turning point. Now, I wasn't alive for the invention of like the radio or the television. I was around, I think the internet was already kind of around when I was born, but I was ushered into a generation, Dr. Brad, where I saw us having to call a number to find out what time it was, to like walking around being able with like something with more computing power than the Apollo, space shuttle. So like we're in a very unprecedented time where we have access to before, if we had a message, if anybody had a message, I don't care if it's GM, Ford, Chrysler, like if they wanted to reach the vast majority of the US, their only way to do that was through mass media, through television. And it was very expensive. And there were like 7 channels. And so you had to buy your way into that. And that was the average person was locked out of your ability to connect with beyond the people in their immediate circle. Technology has changed just even what we're doing here now. Like, I mean, we're on StreamYard. I mean, so I'm sure that there's a low monthly fee for that. Facebook is free. Like, we have all of these tools and our ability in 2020 to market directly to consumers and craft a life and build a life that we deserve is unprecedented. And so for the people that take advantage of that, I don't care if you're a chef. I don't care if you make shoes. Look at all these people running around selling like custom masks, whatever it is. Here's what I know. We are in the content age. We are in the age where the people before, it was kind of like, okay, let me sell a product, let me sell a service. Now it's how can you package your perspective is what we're really looking for. And so again, we diminish and we don't know what we don't know. So it's easy to diminish it. But in 2020, your ability to take what you know and help move other people forward in their life and their business. There's never been a time in history where that's more scalable and profitable. And when I wake up every morning, Dr. Brad, between the time I wake up, time I go to sleep, I got 3 goals. I have a lot of goals, but generally it's have fun, make money, and make an impact. I left my full-time job April 12th of 2019. I've been building BSN full-time for over a year. We built it to a multiple 6-figure brand, moving to 7 figures. Like every single day though, I want to have fun, make money, make an impact in the lives of other people. And I think everyone has that opportunity because of the tools that we have available to us if we would take the time to do what I like to call slow down to speed up, which is I really clearly understand, the value that we're creating. And so for people, I really don't like the term speaking. We call it speaking because that's what everybody renates for, right? It's like, hey,
it's the key term. It's the key term on the internet. Let's just be real. That's the key term.
It is. My developer, because we have a new website. My developer was showing me all the analytics this morning. He was like, yeah, here's what we should target for. And I was like, okay. But really, it's not speaking because my very first digital product, Dr. Brad, it was, and I was still working. I came home on Friday night and I was kind of frustrated, kind of tired, but Friday was always my most creative time. And BSN was probably 6 months old. Had no business model. We had a Facebook group and a Twitter page, basically. Right. So I came out, I was like, I'm gonna create a digital product. Had never done it before, sat down, and that product became the 51 online resources defined in book speaking engagements. It was a PDF. It wasn't a pretty PDF. It wasn't sexy. It was just a PDF. I priced it for $5. I sat down on my computer at 9 o'clock. By 2 a.m. Saturday morning, I finished it. I scheduled it to go out 8 o'clock. 8 a.m. it went out. 8:05, I had $5 in my bank account, PayPal, which is okay, $5, no big deal. But to me, that $5 might as well have been 5 million, because what it represented is 12 hours ago, I had just an idea. Now I have $5. Idea, $5. Idea, $5. So now at 8:05, $5, that $5 represented not the money, but the potential to be able to, at my computer, I didn't go anywhere. I didn't get dressed. I didn't eat breakfast yet. I was asleep. I didn't wake up till later that morning. I was able to help someone solve a problem from where I was. So now I'm like, well, I made $5. By the way, by 8:10, I'd made $15. By 8:30, I had made $30, and so I was like, this is a game changer. And we've been doing iterations of that ever since. And so I would say, if you get hung up on the term speaking, perhaps if that's too much for you, if you don't see yourself on a stage standing in front of 1,000 people, some people love that, and that's their vision of speaking. When we say speaking, it conjures different images for different people. But what I would encourage everyone listening to this to think about is your ability to effectively monetize your message through whatever vehicle that is. And speaking is just one aspect of that. One of the biggest things we spend time on with Dr. Brad is helping speakers identify their path to profit. Not everybody wants to speak 180 days a year. Some people want to speak 3 times and be done for the year. Right. So there's ways to do that. But the main thing is, taking information out of your head, repackage it, repurpose it, and helping people solve a problem in their life and their business.
And I think the game changer right now, man, is you mentioned it earlier. In the past, if you were trying to, and I just say evangelize whatever your mission is, right? If you're trying to just get it out there, I mean, it was almost door to door. I mean, you kind of had to find, okay, even if you had clarity, which I think most people struggle with, they don't know it. Like I said, they don't know what they don't know. But let's say, dude, I know who my target market is. I know what my calling is, who I'm supposed to be serving. I know what their unique problem is and my solution, and the solution that I offer to them that I know solves it. You would have to you have to go on tour, man.
Speaking circuit. That's what the term speaking circuit came from.
Speaking circuit. What people don't understand now is, look, I don't care whether you cook, I don't care whether you clean, I don't care whether you do whatever, but whatever you do that's solving someone's problem, guess what? People are looking for that solution somehow. And now you can get on this is a prime example of it. You can get on people's show. People are looking for content. You can get on people's podcasts, but you're going to have to be able to effectively speak about it in a way that's going to attract people. You're going to have to be able to tell a story such that people can resonate with it. And so I think you made a great point. You ain't trying to be Les Brown. I don't care what you do or who you are. If you have a business, speaking is another avenue with which to, no, you don't have to get paid to speak. However, you can use speaking to bring money to you, to attract clients. But what's so cool is you can get so great at your expertise that people will pay you to come and speak on whatever that is. And obviously, it's all about value. The more value you provide as that expert, you just might find yourself getting extra money just by talking about what you already love.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I think the key is kind of like to keep it simple for everybody, just around the notion of what this looks like financially. It's, I believe you have two kind of variables when it comes to, like, hey, I want to, make more money. I want to be more successful. It's like, great. You got people, you got problems. So you can either help more. You have a lot of people solve a very small problem. My favorite example, those pop sockets on the back of your phone, like
yes.
the $5, $7, like those didn't exist like 4 or 5 years ago, or at least I didn't see them. But now they're everywhere. Everybody has a pop socket on the back of their phone. It's $5, but it's invaluable. Like as soon as mine falls off, I go immediately and buy a new one. Like because I can hold it, I can stand it up. Like it's a very small problem, but it's scaled to like millions and millions of people. Or you can help a small number of people solve a big problem, right? And so, in speaking, we talk about like riches and niches, like helping. Like oftentimes, we're trying to help. We want to save the world, and there's 7 billion people in the world. Like you will go broke trying to market to everybody. So it's like, okay, who is the number? And it may not be like men, women, and 25-year-old men from Chicago, Michigan. Chicago, Illinois. It's like, hey, what are the psychograph? What are the life experiences? What are the things that are connecting, individuals together that will allow me to really talk to them so that they see themselves in me every time that I do what you said, Dr. Brad, every time I write content, every time I speak on a podcast. Like if people are seeing themselves in you, then they will be attracted and they would follow, and then they would eventually get to know what you have. So it's that piece, but you can help people solve a small problem or big problem. Very few of us are going to help a lot of people solve a big problem. Like that's like cure for cancer, cure for coronavirus. Like very few people are going to do that. Some people will, but pick one of the two and go for it.
Man, that's phenomenal. Dude, you and I could go for another 3 hours and still be at this same energy because we love what we're talking about right now. I think people got a lot of good information. I want them to get more. So I want to know, where do you want them to go for more information? Where can they find you, Brian?
Yeah. So, I have a free gift. So last year I mentioned we wrote a book. It's called Speak Up, The Ultimate Guide to Dominate the Speaking Industry. I have a free copy waiting for everybody.
Where can they go? Because I'm going to type it in and put it on the banner here.
Okay. Well, the easiest thing is the bit links, like the bit.ly/ if you do bit.ly/ BSN FB, all lowercase. I think it has to be all lowercase, BSN FB for Facebook. That's our Facebook community. So they can join the Facebook community. As soon as they join, you'll get an email. The 5 M's that I mentioned are outlined in that book. So
there y'all go. If y'all missed it, first of all, you could just rewind, okay? But he already just said, man, he giving you a free gift. So is that fb.com or is it bit.ly? Is it bit.ly / BSNFB?
Yeah, I think it's if you do bit.ly / BSNFB, it'll take you there. Or you just go to Black Speakers Network. You type in Black Speakers Network on Facebook. But
right there. Is that it?
Yeah. That looks really correct. Yes.
Okay.
But I encourage people to do that. And this isn't like an ebook that we just do together. Actually, we weren't even going to do an ebook. because the physical book is $25 on Amazon, so they can still go grab that, because it's 35 authors in that book. And what we did was, under each of those pillars, we have specific chapters to speak to very specific elements in each part of your speaking business. So you may be asking yourself, how do I price my speaking fees? How do I leverage webinars? How much, what's a speaker sheet? How should I even leverage it? What should I go on my speaker website? Like, the book, it's not like a novel. It's not Moby Dick. You read it from cover to cover. Like, you go to the area that you need. It's like prescriptive. So that's free. And by being a part of the BSN community, there are over 10,000 current aspiring professional speakers just like you. So if you are looking to connect, we do free training on a regular basis. We ask questions. We share success stories. There's a ton of things. You'll see events that we have coming up, but I think that's the easiest way for people to get engaged and see what we're doing.
Man, y'all, listen to what I'm telling you, and I say this all the time. Reggie, my man Reggie Hilliard said, free? Sign me up. Yes, Reginald.
What's up, Reggie?
Free, my friend. So, man, yeah, no, people definitely got blessed here between the stories and just the strategy. I love it. I end the show every single week with the same question, man, because I think you and I have both been in that place before, man, where it's just like, yo, like, I feel like there's something else out there for me. I kind of have an idea, but I don't know, but I just know there's something out there for me. And I mean, you're relatively successful before, you started this. I think in most people's eyes, they'd have been kind of happy with where you were, you know what I mean? And it was the same thing for me. Like, I was like, I'm a physician, you know what I'm saying? But I think there's just people out there that got that itch, man. And because they're not really in that calling. What would you say to that guy who's like in that space, and they're thinking about making a move, but they just haven't yet? What would you tell them?
Yeah. So I'm actually writing another book now. It's called, title's not finalized, but it's something to the effect of what I say all the time, which is, don't let, perfection stand in the way of progress. Because the reality is that, that was me. Like, I would go to work, like I said, it wasn't bad, but it was like, okay, I know that there's something more. But at the same time, who am I? Like President Barack Obama's book, like The Audacity of Hope. Like, who am I to have the audacity to, do these things? And so for the people that are kind of like on the fence, you just gotta pick somewhere to start. Like, I'm not one of those type of people that's like, hey, go spend $10,000 on a program, or, I mean, you could if that's what you need at the time, but I like to start, like, I like the $5 product example, because it was something like getting that small win was enough to get me to the next step. So then we was like, okay, maybe we need another product, and then we have a membership, and now we have a program, and now we have, so I think you just need a place to start, and you need to prove to yourself that you can consistently, produce results and be able to get feedback from your market. Because what I tell people all the time is that, like, the first iPhone sucked. Like, it was revolutionary for the time, but it sucked. That's why it was iPhone 1. If it was great, we would still be rocking with the iPhone. No, we're on what, like 12, 11?
Yeah.
So your first iPhone is going to suck, but it's fine. Let it suck. Like, let it get out there, create your, whatever your minimum viable offer is. Like, most people right now are 48 hours away, no more than 48 hours away from launching their first whatever, from generating their first, I don't care if it's a digital download. I don't care if it's it costs nothing to coach. It costs nothing to build a program. We have people right now that are creating programs, Dr. Bread. They're selling programs, and once they sell, then they're creating it on the back end. So I got a program launching on August 15th. Sign up. Where's the website? Don't worry about it. Here's the PayPal link. What are you talking about? I'm going to talk about on this webinar. Do the webinar. Until people ready to sign up. Oh, great. We've just proven that it works. Now we're going to go into it. And so I think progress over perfection. Move out of your own way and just start, and then calibrate along the way. You don't have to start at iPhone 11. Start at 1. go to 2, go to 3, go to 4, and just make incremental steps along the way. And you'll be surprised where you can get to in 90 days with that type of, just focus.
Man, look, I don't know about y'all, but I've been blessed because I tend to be a perfectionist, right? I think we all have some level. I don't think it's like you're either a perfectionist or you're not. I think it's a spectrum. And for me, I'm closer toward that perfectionist spectrum that will prevent my progress. And no, I could be further along if I get some of that out, man. So I know that definitely spoke to me. I know it for sure spoke to some other folks, man. Hey, Brian, thank you. Literally, man, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it. You and I will be obviously working on some things together. It was an absolute blessing that you and I have been connected. Shout out to our mutual friend, Kofi, for connecting us.
Thank you, Kofi.
And so, guys, again, we appreciate you guys being on. Again, another Men of Impact show with another phenomenal guest. I'm your host, Dr. Brad, your purpose clarity coach, helping men who are unfulfilled in their current career be able to get clarity on their calling so they can turn their purpose into a profitable business. We will be back next week. Once again, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe this message and this show. We will see you guys then.